Thanks. Many members of the community and local businesses in Springfield are honoring the 13th year since the June 1st, 2011 tornado. And Western Mass News reporter Reagan Stoddard joins us live in studio with more information. Reagan?
Mayor Dominic Sarno issued a citywide moment of reflection today to commemorate the tornado's 13th anniversary. Many religious organizations across the city plan to assist in the citywide reflection. Western Mass News spoke with Robert White, pastor of Mount Carmel Church, on why they would honor the tornado anniversary at today's Mass.
It passed very close by to Mount Carmel Church and affected many of the businesses and residences in this area. So we thought it's very appropriate that we remember this event that was so important to our city and our community.
Mr. White says the tornado damaged parts of their roof, basement, and windows. Part of the citywide reflection included a moment to pause that happened at 4:38 p.m., the time the tornado hit Springfield 13 years ago. Mayor Sarno issued a statement that also reflected on other challenging events in the city of Springfield that they have seen, like COVID-19 pandemic. Reporting live in studio, Reagan Stoddard, Western Mass News.
Thank you.